What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
Yo, this is Joe.
And we have a special guest this week.
Damn right we do.
Todd Powers. Say hello, Todd.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Just looking to get back to work, as you guys well know.
Like all of us, man. Like all of us.
Like all
If you are
of us.
listening to this and not watching, you are missing a great visual. Todd, behind him, has a clock made out of sneakers, specifically Jordans. Is that right?
All Jordans, all Air Jordans, right. 1 through 12, and then in the sequential order of the clock. So
1 o'clock is Jordan 1.
OG?
So I don't want people to break into your home and steal this, but what would be the estimated value of that clock behind you? Are these $1,000 sneakers?
There's some here worth a couple hundred. I have a couple at home that are worth a couple $1,000s. Yeah.
Oh.
So, but only one are here. So if you want to come and Google me and stalk me, the other ones are somewhere else. I'll just say that. So the other half.
And hey, by the way, we should mention we are pre-recording this.
Correct.
We're actually speaking to Todd on March 31st. I've lost track of when this is going to land.
That's why I just asked Mike. I'm like, what's coming out tomorrow?
Yeah, Joe and I have pre-recorded. So, and to me, it's a great sign because the reason we're pre-recording is that we are traveling.
Yep.
So, Joe, you have what, a fishing trip coming up?
I do. I got a spring break fishing trip next week with the whole family, like mom, dad, sister coming from Montana, the whole show.
Great.
All the Bunns.
Kelly and I are going away the last 2 weeks of April. We're going to be in Maine. So
Yep.
I'll
and then I'll be
Todd.
Yeah, when you're in Maine, I'll be in Midwest at Midwest DJs Live, Wisconsin.
Happy anniversary, Mike, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but
thank you very much.
Wait, did I miss that?
no, you mentioned it before, Joe. You said make sure we wish Mike a happy anniversary.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's right. I told you.
Yesterday was our anniversary.
I thought I saw that picture.
We made it through the 7-year itch because we were quarantined. We didn't see anybody during the 7-year itch. So best way to get through the 7-year itch is just to have no outside interaction with anyone.
No, see, you're looking at it the wrong way. See, I would think that's the kiss of death. I guarantee like divorce rates are through the roof right now. Because if you had to be locked up with somebody that you marginally liked, or like if you're, the guy that had to travel 6 out of 7 days, and then that one day you're home, I'll see my wife, kiss her on the cheek, and then I'm out again on another flight. Like the next thing you know, you're stuck at, 14 months with her. Shit, man, I don't know.
A lot of time thinking about this, Joe. That's scary. If I was Ainsley, I'd be a little worried right now.
She doesn't listen. She doesn't listen.
You know what?
Good thing this isn't recorded.
I could confess
or broadcast live right now.
Yeah.
So,
Todd, we have enough questions to you, and I want to walk you through your career. But this backdrop makes it obvious you and Joe share that sneaker passion, which I just don't get. So, and this might be old news by the time this thing drops, but what's going on with Little Nas X and these Satan sneakers? And do you give a shit? Are you trying to buy one of these? What's up?
There's human blood inside of the sneaker, supposedly, so I'm gonna kind of stay away from that. I'm a Jordan guy too, so
yeah, that's right. He's a Jordan guy. I love Air Max, but it's all a ploy, man, and it has nothing to. Nike's already suing him for their defamation of their brand or whatever, and it's got a pentagram on it and a drop of human blood in the Air Max bubble. It's all hype, man. It goes along with the song, which goes along with the video, which is the weirdest. Dare I say, I don't know what I can say about it, but it's odd. Look it up. It's called like Montero or something. It all goes together. It's all publicity and hype, and he's really good at that stuff. And but I don't. No, I do not want a pair. I don't think they'll ever get to the hands of the people that bought them. Quite frankly, I think they'll shut the whole thing down before
because of the Nike lawsuit.
Yeah.
And the game has changed, if I can call it a game, because it used to be a game to get sneakers. You used to sleep out and kind of like concert tickets back in the day. For the younger generation, they don't know that, but I see Mike shaking his head because he remembers, I'm sure.
Yes.
I missed that. No, I mean, concert tickets, yes, but the sneaker gene, I just like I've said to both of you, sneakers are for running. That's it. I don't, to me, I don't wear a pair of sneakers the rest of the day after my workout. It's just not a fashion thing. I miss that fashion thing.
he would try to find I had a plug. I had a guy.
Yeah.
I won't say his name. He used to be able to get them for me, because it was this store, and I have a funny story. It was a store, and it was, usually in an urban area. So I would go in there, and he would know me by name, and that's a bad thing because obviously there are hundreds of dollars. But after a while, he would text me and say, "Hey Todd, the Jordan 11s come out. What color do you want?" I'm like,
wow, that was the plug.
True.
Yeah,
because
the real plug.
To teach Mike a little something there, you would buy 3 pairs, Mike. One to keep, one to wear, and then one to flip. So you would make your money back on it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So he would call me.
One to keep, in other words, stick it in the closet, never wear it, keep it pristine. And then what, eventually make a clock out of it? Like
you make a clock out of it. There you go.
Okay. Then one you wore. And did you ever wear those to the point of like they fell apart, or just you wore them every once in a while?
No, Joe and I were talking about before that, like, there's guys that'll put plastic bags over them if it's raining out. Or I've taken my shoes off. This is funny. I wear the Jordan 11s, which I don't know if you guys can see, but with my suits every wedding. That's just my thing. And like, hey, we have to go outside and do something. I'll take my shoes off, put another pair on, get what I have to get out of the truck, and then put the 11s
and what are we
on.
talking flip? What would it cost you retail, and how much could you make off of
I mean, anywhere from $100 to $175, and then flipping them for, sometimes double, sometimes more, just depending on. And the key is if they're dead stock, meaning you can't get them anymore, the price just goes for the roof. Or they're limited. Right. If they're limited, meaning only a certain amount they release, then they'll go through the roof.
Well, welcome. If you're a DJ, I promise we won't be on sneakers the entire time. Welcome, Todd. Thanks for being on, man.
Great to be here. It's an honor.
So talk about how we got Todd on, Mike. Like, tell what led to. I mean, I love Todd.
So Todd and I have talked about possibly doing a seminar. We need to approach DJ Times with it. So you and I are going to have to come up with a title. And so I figured this would kind of be a good test run. And I don't know if relevant is the right word. We need to brainstorm about that. But like staying relevant as you age in this industry. Todd, you shared before we went live. Can I say your age?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
You're 53. 29.
29 plus 24.
I have you by 1 year, and by the time this drops, I think I'll have you by 2, because I turned 55 on April 19th, and I think this will drop after that. So yeah, we've talked about possibly doing a seminar about staying and different strategies that you and I have both used to hopefully to do that. So that was kind of my impetus to have you on. But like we usually do when we have a guest, we'd like to walk back a little bit further and talk about your early years and what eventually got you into the industry.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Mike kind of like softballed me this question, which I didn't know. And you and I know each other pretty well, and we share an affinity for sneaker. And we really met, from what I remember, for the first time, like really connected at I think it was Wedding MBA years ago, and in a club. I think Jan and I was playing that party he always plays.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't remember if I approached you or you approached me, but I looked at your shoes and I was like, holy shit, I need to know this guy. Like he's about my age. He's obviously been in the game for a long time if he's wearing those shoes in the club. And I was like, this is my friend right here. I love this guy. And so from then on, we hit it off. Like, he sent me a pair of shoes one time. Like, he sent Digital Dave. If you ever watch Digital Dave stream, he has a pair of like custom Pittsburgh Steelers Air Force Ones behind him. And Todd sent those to him. He got somebody to paint them like with the little 3-star kind of logo. I mean, like, I love this guy. Anyway, and he's been a supporter of mine in the vault and the DJ booth game and everything. But I didn't know this.
Workshop graduate.
Yeah, and a PHDJ workshop graduate. So he's just, he's a friend, he's a supporter, and I appreciate Todd immensely. But I did not know this. So you studied fashion at the University of Rhode Island. Where was this going? Like, where was that supposed to go? Were you going to be a sneaker designer?
No, well, I loved sneakers then too, but I wanted to open my own clothing store. So I went into fashion merchandising, minor in textile marketing, which, that's a major. I had my dad was a Marine.
Okay.
And for me to explain to him that I was going to school, to open a clothing store. And so he was cool with it. He was very proud of me.
That's cool.
I made the dean's list, come home, and he's looking at the report card and he says, wait, what is washability? You have a class in washability. And I'm like, oh, it's cleaning clothes. And he's like, wait a minute. And this is back then.
Yeah.
I'm paying $10,000 a year to teach you how to wash clothes. And I was like, yeah. So he was immensely proud of me. But I got my degree in textile marketing, worked at G Fox, which I think that's a Northeast company, Filene's, Macy's.
Okay.
And I said, if I'm going to open my own clothing store, let me work big retail first and learn from the big boys. And I did it, and I didn't really like it. It just wasn't my thing. So a friend said, I'm having a party. And
hang on. Todd, slow down.
Sorry.
We'll walk through this. Relax.
I know you want to ask me questions.
Do you have any idea what a year at URI costs now? Because I think the best part about that story is your dad said $10,000. What if you wanted to send one of your children right now to URI? Have we just moved the decimal point over one, or has it not been that bad?
$60,000.
$60K. Wow.
For a year.
For a year. 50 to 60.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
So if $10,000 a year gets you pissed off about learning how to wash clothes, 60 will get you six times pissed off. All right. So you were so anxious to tell the story. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. That's okay.
Shared a great story with me prior to this. How do you go from that? Because you never even thought about DJing, right? How do we get there?
Never.
And listen, as you answer this question, Todd, I am going to jump off, reboot my computer, and jump back on because I heard the story already. Because I'm freezing up a lot. So share the story with our listeners. I'll personally be right back.
Okay. Cool. I want to add to that I was a field goal kicker for the football team. So not only was I a fashion merchandising major, so not only was I getting made fun by my father, but the entire team knew that I was a fashion merchandising major. So,
but you're on the football team, even though you're the kicker. You're still on the football team. That's pretty cool.
And my son reminds me that, like, Dad, you were not a college football player. And I'm like, no, I played Division I football. He's like, you were a kicker. You learned how to spin a ball on your finger and stand there and
look small. And
exactly. The old kicker split. You know what that is? Like when a guy jukes you and you just do a split because you're a kicker.
Oh, my son. That's what I told my son, though. Like, he's a soccer player and he has a massive leg. And I'm like, look, man, let me show you when Gano was the man for the Panthers. Like, Graham Gano just signed a contract for whatever, $10 million, $20 million. And he probably got touched twice this season. Like, it looks pretty dope. I was a soccer player also. Yeah.
For 2 years, and then I transferred, and they wouldn't let me play. I'm like, I can kick the ball through the uprights, and there I was. So anyhow, a little side note there. So back to working at G Fox. Yeah. I wasn't, I just wasn't a fan of it. It wasn't my thing. Friend says, hey, we're having a party. Want you to come from high school. And I can't afford a DJ. I wish I could. And I'm like, you know what? We're the kings of mixtapes back in college. I said, I'll DJ it for you. Here we go again. I bring my home stereo equipment. These are the guys that we make fun of now, but that was me to start.
Sure, same.
And it rocked. It was just one of those parties. There were a lot of UConn people there, and they just know how to party. And great party. End of the party, guy, comes up to me who I was talking to earlier and says, I need a card. So I give him a G Fox card thinking he needs a suit or a polo shirt or something. He's like, no, dude, I'm getting married. You were like one of the best DJs I've ever seen. And
how old were you? 21?
No, I was 20. Well, yeah, 22, 23. Okay. Yeah, 23. So right out of college. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh no, another person comes up and asks me the same question. Hey, we're getting married. Can I get a card? And I'm like, whoa, we may have something here. So next day, I go to the library, which I'm a big reader now, but I wasn't back then. I get a big book called Spinning 2000, which, do you guys remember that book? And so
was that Bob Lundquist?
Yes.
Oh, I do remember that book. They used to sell it at Mobile Beans.
He owned Mobile Beans. Bob owned Mobile
Beans. Okay.
Yeah. So I read that book cover to cover in one night, 4 a.m, and I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I wasn't sure what. And so here's the problem. I'm engaged to be married, so we have a wedding to pay for.
Oh, shit.
And we're building a house. And I'm going to tell my fiance, who's my wife now, Karen, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to open a DJ business. And I'm like, there's no way she's going to say yes to this. There's no way, but I'm going to say it because this is kind of my dream. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I say, hey, honey, this is what I want to do. And, much to my surprise, she's like, I believe in you 100%. Whatever you do, you're going to be amazing at. And I was like, wow. Number one, this is going to be so cool because I'm going to do something I love. Number two, I married the right one. And so she's the best. She's my best friend. We do everything together. We make decisions together. Like, I couldn't be happier with who and we met in 3rd grade. I mean, we're high school sweethearts. So yeah. So she's tolerant. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, that kind of.
Are you married?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Thanks, Mike. 29 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so he was sharing, Mike, right before you hopped on a little while ago. So, talk about, I've talked about on the show before where I used to be beautiful and get hit on by the bridesmaids, and now I get hit on by the mother of the bride. This guy is about to be the father of the bride. He's planning a wedding right now. Wow. So Mike's totally frozen. We can hear you, Mike, but we can't see you.
Jesus, I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
Somebody in your neighborhood is streaming like really hardcore porn right now. It's a good thing I've got a good connection. But let me segue. I don't know how this segues into this, but you kind of just touched on what one of our next questions were. And, I've talked about family. Mike's talked about family on this podcast numerous times, even though he doesn't have kids. He's got an awesome family, brother, sister, parents, dogs. Like he has Kelly, he's got a family. And so how you touched on it briefly, your wife was super supportive. Your father was super supportive, which, both of those people had the opportunity to shut the whole thing down. Especially a Marine, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm not paying for that. You're not doing that. And you're going to go to the Marines, which probably would have been a really, I'm trying to think of what year that would have been. It wouldn't have been a great time to be a Marine, I can assure you. Just based on our timelines lining up. I remember, in college, in fact, yeah, it would have been, so 90 through 94, I was in college, so you would have been a little later. But I remember, there was chatter in that era of, they're going to bring the draft back. And I'm like, holy shit. This I
remember standing in the shower, Joe, and saying, am I ready to be drafted? Yeah. Gulf War. And I'm like, we never saw a war. Right. Through all of our lives. And all of a sudden, drafted?
I'm like, dude, are they seriously going to, and I was like, dude, I feel like I'm prime candidate for this. Am I going to get drafted? Do I need to go sign up to go in the Coast Guard like my dad did? Or am I getting ready to be a soldier? It was a scary time around. I don't remember exactly the year. My memory sucks. But going back to that, so, I mean, you got an awesome family. We've seen the pictures. We talked about it a little bit. How important was that to being successful, to where you are now with Jock in the Box?
100%, because I'll start with my mom. My dad had passed away, and so she allowed me to drag speakers up and down in our extra room of our house. And there's, to this day in that house, there's still dents in the wall from dragging the big heavy speakers up and down. You guys know those stories. Even allowing me to have on a flyer, and I for the people that are listening, you can't see it, and I don't want to show her number, but I have her phone number here. Tomorrow is 29 years for Jock in the Box. So.
Tomorrow is the 29th anniversary of the company. Yeah. How did you determine that date?
I know that
was your.
Yeah. So I would answer the phone, Jock in the Box Entertainment, at my mom's house back in the day. So I how I know that, because filling out all the PPP applications. When did you start your business? April 1st of 92. So my mom, 100%, so supportive, so smart. She's a teacher, so just. Was great about everything. I told you about Karen already, and my kids. Can I swear?
Sure.
Okay. The shitstorm that we've gone through this year has been horrible. But I don't know if you guys have seen my post lately. I'm doing pandemic positives, and you hear the word positive when you're about this pandemic, and you're thinking of people testing positive. But there's so many positive things that came out of it. And one is my family. I got to spend a year with my adult kids. Who gets that? My daughter's 26. She's getting married. My son is 23. He's moving back to Boston a week from tomorrow, which we're gonna miss him like crazy. But I got to hang out with them, and they even said, Mom and Dad, last summer was the best summer we've ever had, because we were playing flip cup in the pool and drinking games with them. It was a blessing to have this happen to us. So there's so many bad things that have come out of this, but they didn't have that at their recitals all the time. And my son was a college basketball player. I would miss some of his games, but I also got to DJ his games too, which was so cool.
That's sick. That's sick. Yeah, man. It's you're on a different path. You know what I mean? So your kids are considerably. I mean, y'all, like you said, y'all must have gotten married or had kids very young. Like you must have been in your early 20s, right?
24, I got married. Yeah. So kids at 25, 26. Yeah.
So I think I got married around 31, and then a couple 3 years later, so I was a full 10 years behind you, which the math adds up. My kids are 13, 16. So, man, that's a different journey, different path.
Great story, though.
Great story.
It's great
Classic.
that you can find that silver lining in this, and hopefully a decade from now, you'll look back on that year 2020 and go, remember that year when we got to hang out the whole summer that we hadn't done that since you were children. And yeah, man, that's awesome stuff. So before we wrap up, we'll go back to that topic that brought you on. What can you share? Do you have something, one or two things how have you stayed in your mid 50s now, about to become father of the bride, and yet you're still a successful DJ? And we are in there is ageism in our industry. It's not a negative thing. It's just what some couples, how do you think you stayed successful with?
I tried to look at all three of us and what is common between the three of us, because I think we're all pretty successful in what we do. And
but Joe's a young whippersnapper. Joe's not really here.
Those 40s people. I think we all stay physically fit. I think that's a key. Go ahead, Joe. I see you were doing the.
No, I was saying I'm clawing to hold on to 49 until September.
Amen. Keep that slam.
No, physically fit. Yeah, I agree with that one.
I see Joe posting his workouts all the time. Like, I'm even on vacation and I'm getting one in here. And then Mike and his running, and I admire that, Mike. I'm not a runner, but I admire what you've done. And so I have a quick story of how I kind of try to stay physically fit. My dad died of heart disease, and I was 25 when that happened, so way too young. So I vowed that was never going to happen to me. And so this is a great story. We went to New Jersey for a vacation, and this is how long ago it is. We got the pictures back. You have to send the film out. So
I remember that.
Sure.
Yeah. Get the pictures back, and I'm looking at all the pictures like, oh, cool. And then I see my son Cam, who was, 8 at the time, being pulled on a boogie board by some fat bald guy. And I'm like, who the heck was pulling him on a boogie board? And I'm like, that's me. Holy crap, look how fat and bald I am. So, I'm 180 pounds now. I was over 200 then. And so,
you can't bring your hair. You didn't bring your hair back though, did you?
No.
I need to know that if you did. Okay, guys.
I wish.
Right. Okay.
I like them all.
Dropping the weight is.
We are so lucky as men that the bald thing is acceptable. It's become fashionable. It's in.
So
listen, I've gotten lucky up top, and I'm hanging on to it as long as possible because I don't have any idea how I'll look bald. But
I just want to comb it. It looks so good, Mike. I'm not kidding. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm
definitely jealous.
Yeah.
So fitness, definitely, absolutely. Any other ones?
Yeah. So I just real quick. So I started doing P90X, and I think I told you guys a story. Was getting dizzy every now and then while setting up DJing and everything else in life, and I'm like, that's what happens when you're 40. Long story short, I passed out doing P90X. Go to the doctors, I have a history of heart disease. I'm 90% clogged, have to put a stent.
Oh, wow. When was that? I don't remember this.
42, at age 42 or so. And I'm the healthy guy. I have abs.
Right.
It was funny. The doctor complimented my abs. Like, dude, you got to be the guy in the best shape that has ever been 90% clogged. I'm like, well, thank you, sir. They're trying to date me or something. Like
genetics, man. That's just genetics at that point.
It is genetics. Yeah. So P90X saved my life. If I wasn't working out at such a high intense level.
Yeah.
I would have just been one of those guys walking down the street and major heart attack.
And so what they do? Put a stent in, or they
put a stent in? Yeah,
it's the same thing that happened to Randy.
Yeah,
several years ago, he had the same thing. He said he was walking, just even loading in a gig. He was like, "Man, I was getting winded on just the most basic setups," and he was like, "I knew something was wrong." He went to the doctors, and they were like, "You're like clogged, man. We got to get this stent in." And he was out in a day or day and a half. He was out, and he's been great ever since. Now, he has since started riding the bike more. He's in much better shape now, put it that way. But
I've got a second chance. I'm going to be at my daughter's wedding. I'm going to walk her down the aisle. I got to see my son go to a state championship in basketball. I got a second chance. So I'm just going to keep working out and keep fighting this thing because odds are against,
I almost wish everybody had a scare like that, because there are so many people I think that need it. They think they're immortal and they're out of shape, but they don't feel bad, so they just keep going. And maybe if they had that kind of scare, like Randy Bartlett told, you're diabetic now, and that was his kick in the ass to say, fuck this, I'm getting myself in shape. I almost wish everybody would just get one of those. And
that's my message. Listen to your body. Like, oh, I'm getting dizzy. That's not normal. normal.
No. You ain't just getting old. That ain't normal.
Right.
Man, I hope you guys do the seminar. I really do. I think this would be a good. It's just a different topic. It's a relevant seminar. There are, when you go to any DJ conference, a lot of older DJs there. Period.
Yeah. I think another topic that I think we're all good listeners, of even people that are young on us, and that's hard sometimes. Being in our 50s, and I have a group, my Monday morning meetup group of just 12 to 15 of the best guys, the smartest guys in the country from DJ, and I met them all at the Collective. So,
nice. That's right.
And there's guys in there half my age. I think Josh Staley is
Justin
27.
Reed and
Justin
some
Reed,
of those
yeah.
guys. Right,
just brilliant.
Good,
and so I've learned so much from guys half that age, and that's hard sometimes, but I'm willing to listen. And, I learned a ton from you guys. Thank you for everything that you do for our industry. I think I've read all your books and all your videos, and I've done all this stuff. I have 2 command centers. So,
he does.
You guys have really helped to change our industry. So thank you for that.
Dude,
thank you for saying
that.
Appreciate
Man.
it.
Absolutely. Yeah. David Sporn's in the chat. He's a young buck, and he's saying, please do the seminar. So he even wants to know, how do you, he wants to do this as a career. He does do it as a career, but look at him in 30 years. He still wants to be in the game. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope y'all pull that seminar together.
Listen, Todd, you and I just need to brainstorm one-on-one and start sending some notes back and forth, and I think we can definitely put it together. I think it's got 45 minutes to an hour of good content.
Easily.
That's worth
it. And you are the perfect people to do it, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll be on the front row.
Cool.
I love that.
Cool.
Well, Todd, we're going to let you go, and man, thank you again. And then if you guys are watching live, there looks like a dozen or so people. We're going to record double episodes today, so you guys are in for a treat. So, Todd, thank you so much again, and everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Pleasure being here. Thanks, guys.
Later, Todd. Thanks, man.